top game chef José Souto is a keen falconer. He uses his English pointer Izzy to find game for his birds to hunt. He's keen to learn how other gun dog breeds work in the field and what they bring to a walked-up day.
I've always wanted to know more about basically how dogs work with basically on walked-up. When I was a kid, I used to do a lot of walked-up stuff, and I had friends in Spain. I've done a lot of walked-up stuff. I don't do a lot of walked-up shooting nowadays. I tend to basically do falconry. So I've got goshawks and I've got peregrines, which I work with Izzy. And this is Izzy, my pointer. But they're different dogs that obviously are used for different things. I have used my English pointer, the one I've got here today, with guns, and we're going to try and have a go and do that today. But I've got some guys who are experts with me today. And I've got Dan and Paul from Higgscroft Gundogs, and they're here today basically taking out another 2 dogs. So we've got a Springer Spaniel and we've got a Golden Retriever, which are basically going to come out with us today. We're going to put them through their paces, a little bit of walked up stuff. Going to see what we can do. The birds are a bit jittery. We're getting towards the end of the season. It's that sort of time. The weather's not too bad today. You know, it's not raining at least. Yeah, it's a bit grey, but we'll give it a go and see what we come up with.
Dan is shooting his Browning 725 20 bore, while Paul has a Browning Heritage 12 bore.
Not the best shot, so it gives me a bigger pattern.
Let's start with the excuses now, shall we? All right. We're using a variety of different cartridges, all ED cartridges we're working with, and the Eco Wads. Personally, myself, I love to use the Eco Wads and use steel. Again, some of the time, the basically birds that I shoot, I tend to basically use for the birds that I've got. So if I use steel, I haven't got to worry about that. And on top of that, now with basically all of the developments with cartridge, I think the Eco Wads are as good as any cartridge you can get out there with steel. So we've got some VIP steels. We've got some of the high bird loads, which I don't think we'll use today. And then we've got some of the pigeon loads, and I've also got some of the 20 bore loads. One of the things you've got to remember is that be very, very careful when you're using 20 bores and 12 gauges. I don't mix them because I keep them very separate. I've got 2 different cartridge bags which I keep them separate for. And if I'm taking one gun out, I only taking one cartridge out, and then I'll swap over, make sure I clean out the bag. So something very, very important with gun safety, we don't mix them up. So we're just going to have a walk around and see what we can bag. So then hopefully I can take it home and cook it. So what we're going to do, we've left my dog in the car. And the reason for leaving her in the car is obviously I'd prefer to work her on the open ground as opposed to basically stuff like this. Your dogs are obviously better for this sort of thing.
The Springer Spaniel's job is to work the cover in close proximity, so what I call shooting distance, or you would call it quartering, okay, to work the cover as we're going along, potentially flush what's there. Her job is to stop on the flush to give us chance to shoot, steady on the shot, and either we can send my retriever to retrieve or we can send the Springer to retrieve. She's covering the cover beautifully though.
Yeah.
A joy to watch.
I was just about to say that.
3 to my
That was mine.
Right, good.
That's the first thing I shot with this one.
Done a nice job of that. So that was a classic there. So a nice flush from the Spaniel. She was steady on the flush for us to get a nice shot. My dog was obviously steady at hill, waiting for his command to be sent. The Spaniel stayed there really, really well. He did a lovely job of marking that, got into the cover, picked it with confidence, nice gentle mouthed delivery to hand. Perfect scenario.
Brilliant.
Now that the Spaniel and Retriever have shown what they can do, Jose wants to give his pointer a run. He puts the gun away and fetches Izzy from the truck.
She's only about sort of 3-4 years old. There is an adage that falconry guys tend to have really, really good birds, but when it comes to dogs, we tend to have mediocre or bad dogs. So I'm going to see what she's going to do today. I mean, Izzy is at that age now where she's starting to calm down. Pointers will normally take about sort of 2-3 years really to come into their own, especially for me, because I'm not working all the time. With me, it normally always takes me about sort of 2-3 years to really get them going well. And Izzy's at that point now where she's going quite well. She's basically listening. She's not trying to second guess me all the time. And also she's good on game. I mean, normally I'd work her on pheasant and partridge. Here, go on. Good girl. Oh. There you go. She's on.
Izzy is finding scent, but the birds are no longer there. we move on to try another field.
The wind's coming up the field, so basically for my dog it's perfect. Basically for that the winding of the game. She got in on a point, then she started coming on the point, and then she sort of looked over her shoulder at everybody and she got a bit nervous because she sort of came off the point. Now, for me, the reason for that is basically, obviously, with Izzy, when I'm working her with the birds, and the only person who really approaches her is me. So when she's sort of looking around, there's 3 other people walking around and thinking, what's going on? She's not gun shy, because I've shot over her before, but she sort of like was a bit like, oh, but then she came back onto the point, and she put in a really nice point above me. And I come in behind her, and as I come in behind her, we stepped forward. Obviously, we've already said, the birds are really jittery this time of year, right, as we're getting towards the end of the season. And it flushed, and you got it. So, yeah.
It was a nice shot.
Yeah, and then a
nice retrieve by the golden retriever. Yeah, absolutely, nicely to hand.
So as what we said before is basically with pointers, classically before, the pointer would basically find it, point it, flush it, and then hold back. Yep. And then another dog would be sent in, like a retriever, or like the spaniels were basically sent in to retrieve the birds. Yep. It was never their job to go and pick up, although some of them do, like we've talked about this, but it was never their job to pick them up. Yeah, my one will retrieve to a certain point, but to tell you the truth, I don't want her to. We're meeting with the birds. Her thing is to basically find them, flush them, and just stand there and watch me as it goes past. That's her job. Yeah. Yeah, and she did that really, really well. I was really chuffed with her today, actually, because, like I said, I've not done a lot of shooting over her, so I was quite happy.
No, she worked really, really nicely, I thought, and that point was, textbook.
Fantastic day learning a lot about dogs and about different dogs and how they're used. Thank you very much for bringing your dogs in and give us an insight into both dogs that you've got there, and to basically see the dogs working out in this sort of situation rather than in a driven shoot, worked up and working through woods and that.
Let the dogs rest now and
That's
get
it.
a good night's sleep.
That's it. I'll get them, go and have a drink, I think, yeah?
Yep, absolutely.
Great. All right, see you soon.
Find out about Higgscroft Gundogs on its website, link below. For more on Browning guns, go to browning.eu, and for Ely cartridges, see elyhawkltd.com.